There are moments in life when people will try to push your buttons, to rattle your peace, to provoke a reaction. It might be someone close to you, someone you barely know, or even a stranger who delights in stirring chaos. And in that moment, the first instinct is almost always the same: to react, to defend, to shout, to assert, to make them understand that they cannot upset you. But here is the truth. Reacting in that way is giving away your power. True strength lies not in the immediate response, but in cultivating a calm center that no external disturbance can penetrate. This is the art of staying calm when someone is trying to trigger you, and it is a skill that transforms not only your interactions with others, but the entire quality of your life. First, understand that triggers exist not because of the other person, but because of the stories, fears, and unresolved issues inside you. When someone says something hurtful or provocative, they are shining a light on a vulnerability you already carry. Recognizing this truth shifts your perspective. The problem is not the person, the problem is the unresolved reaction within yourself. When you grasp this, you can pause before responding. You create a space between stimulus and response, a sacred space where your awareness grows. In that space, silence, breath, and intention become your greatest allies. Breath is the simplest yet most profound tool for cultivating calm. When triggered, your body floods with adrenaline, your heart races, your muscles tense, and your mind begins to spiral with thoughts of retaliation. In that moment, take a conscious breath. Inhale deeply through your nose, filling your lungs completely, hold it for a brief count, and then exhale slowly through your mouth. This single act interrupts the automatic fight or flight reaction. It sends a signal to your body and mind that you are in control, that you are not a victim of circumstance, and that you can choose your response rather than react impulsively. Each breath you take grounds you, centers you, and reminds you that no external energy has the power to dictate your inner state unless you allow it. Another key aspect of staying calm is reframing the situation. When someone tries to trigger you, pause and ask yourself, why are they doing this? Often, people lash out from fear, insecurity, or frustration. Their provocations are a reflection of their inner chaos, not your worth. When you view the situation through this lens, the insult loses its sting. You begin to see the human behind the action, someone struggling, reacting, and seeking attention in a way that is destructive to themselves and those around them. Reframing does not mean you condone harmful behavior. It means you are refusing to let their energy control yours. It is a mental shift that allows calmness to replace emotional reaction. Silence is another powerful tool in moments of provocation. When someone is attempting to push your buttons, your silence communicates strength. It tells the other person that you are not easily swayed, that their efforts to provoke are futile, and that you operate from a place of calm authority. Silence is not passive, it is active restraint. It is the conscious decision to preserve your energy for moments that truly matter, rather than wasting it on battles that serve no constructive purpose. Silence allows the universe to act in its own way. Often, the one trying to provoke will eventually exhaust themselves, and in that process, karma and natural consequences take care of the situation more effectively than your reaction ever could. Understanding your triggers is also essential. Triggers are usually tied to past experiences, insecurities, or patterns of thought. Self-awareness is the key to mastery. When you know your vulnerabilities, you can anticipate how certain words or actions may affect you. This knowledge gives you a choice: to remain calm or to react. The more you practice this awareness, the less control others have over your emotional state. In essence, self-mastery transforms triggers from threats into opportunities. Every attempt to provoke you becomes a chance to practice restraint, cultivate calm, and strengthen your inner equilibrium. Visualization is a subtle but effective technique to maintain calm. Before you engage in situations where you anticipate provocation, Visualize yourself standing tall, composed, and unaffected. Imagine the words thrown at you bouncing off a protective shield around your mind and heart. Feel your breath steady, your mind clear, and your energy centered. Visualization creates a neural pattern in your brain, preparing your subconscious to respond with calmness instead of reactivity when the actual moment arises. By rehearsing calm, you begin to embody calm, and provocation loses its power over time. It is also important to remember the principle of energy exchange. Every reaction you give is an energy transfer. When you respond to provocation with anger, you are giving away energy that could be used for creation, focus, and joy. When you stay calm, you retain that energy, redirecting it toward constructive outcomes. Your calm becomes contagious, influencing the environment around you, disarming conflict before it escalates, and inspiring others to respond from clarity rather than chaos. In this way, calmness is not just personal, it is transformative for the social field you inhabit. Finally, practice detachment from the need for validation. Often, triggers provoke because they touch a desire for recognition or approval. You may feel the urge to prove yourself, to defend your dignity, or to show superiority. But true calmness arises when you detach from the need for others' approval. Your self-worth is not dictated by their actions or words. You operate from a grounded sense of self that is independent of external conditions. This detachment is liberating. It allows you to engage with the world from clarity rather than ego, ensuring that provocation cannot destabilize your inner peace. To embody calm when someone is trying to trigger you is to understand a profound truth. You cannot control the actions of others, but you can control your response. Your calm is a reflection of your mastery over self, your awareness, and your energy. It is a declaration that no external circumstance has the authority to disrupt your center. Through breath, awareness, silence, reframing, and energy management, you develop a resilience that becomes unshakable. Provocation becomes inconsequential, leaving you free to live from a place of strength, clarity, and purpose. The practice of calmness is not a one-time effort, it is a lifelong cultivation. Every challenge, every person attempting to provoke you, every stressful situation is a laboratory for your growth. Each time you choose calm over reaction, you build a deeper reservoir of strength. You teach your mind that provocation is an opportunity, not a threat. You train your body to remain steady, your heart to remain compassionate, and your spirit to remain unbroken. Over time, this practice transforms your relationships, your work, and your life. You become the unshakable presence in a world of chaos, a living example of peace in motion, and a testament to the power of self-mastery. When someone tries to trigger you, the first instinct is always to respond, to defend yourself, to argue, to shout, to make them feel the weight of their words. But every reaction you give is energy you lose. Every word you speak is a chance to entangle yourself in conflict, and every impulsive action is a step away from your peace. True mastery lies not in reacting to provocation, but in observing it, to watch without judgment, to see without attachment, and to maintain a calm inner center is one of the highest expressions of self-control. Observation gives you the power to respond with wisdom rather than react with chaos. To begin, understand that provocation is a mirror. The person attempting to trigger you is revealing more about themselves than they are about you. They may be angry, insecure, envious, or frustrated. Their attempt to push your buttons is a reflection of their own inner state. When you observe this, you shift the focus from their words to the truth behind their behavior. You see that their aggression, criticism, or manipulation has nothing to do with your value or your reality. It is simply their inner storm spilling outward. Observation allows you to separate yourself from the chaos, to maintain a boundary between your peace and their disturbance. Observation is also about noticing your own internal reactions. When someone tries to trigger you, your body immediately responds. Your heart races, your chest tightens, your mind begins to spin with defensive thoughts. These are natural reactions, but if you allow them to dictate your behavior, you become reactive rather than calm. Instead, take a moment to observe what is happening inside you. Acknowledge the rise of anger, frustration, or hurt without judgment. By seeing it, you no longer identify with it. You realize this feeling is passing, it is not me, and I do not need to act on it immediately. Observation transforms emotional turbulence into a conscious choice, allowing calmness to emerge from within. Another essential element is detachment from the outcome. Often provocation triggers because we are invested in controlling what others think or how they behave. We want them to act fairly, to acknowledge our worth, or to stop disrespecting us. But control is an illusion. No one's words or actions have power over your inner state unless you give it to them. By observing and detaching from the need to influence the other person, you reclaim your energy. You begin to understand that your peace is far more important than the temporary satisfaction of retaliation. The moment you detach from the outcome, provocation loses its grip. Mindful breathing amplifies the power of observation. When you feel provoked, take slow, deliberate breaths. Inhale, bringing awareness to your chest and belly. Exhale, releasing tension, agitation, and the need to react. As you breathe, visualize yourself as an observer of a river. Words, actions, and provocations flow past you like water, and you remain steady on the bank. This visualization helps you maintain clarity, control, and calmness even in the midst of chaos. Each breath is an anchor that reinforces your ability to observe without being swept away by the current of emotion. Observation also involves understanding the nature of impermanence. Provocations, insults, and attempts to trigger you are fleeting. They exist only in this moment, and their power diminishes if you refuse to attach to them. By observing them without attachment, you preserve your energy for meaningful action rather than wasting it on reactive words. You realize that the storm is temporary, and that your calm is permanent. This awareness strengthens resilience, ensuring that no matter how many times someone tries to disturb your peace, your center remains unshakable. When you practice observation, you also cultivate empathy, seeing the motives behind someone's provocation. Their fear, their frustration, their pain allows you to respond with compassion rather than hostility. You understand that their attempts to trigger you are a manifestation of their inner struggles. Compassion does not mean accepting harmful behavior, it means acknowledging the humanity of the other person while maintaining your own boundaries. Empathy transforms conflict into understanding, and understanding transforms tension into calm. Observation is also strategic. By staying quiet, listening, and noticing patterns, you gain information that is unavailable to those who react impulsively. You learn how the person behaves when provoked, what triggers them, and how to navigate interactions with them wisely. This knowledge allows you to respond with precision and thoughtfulness rather than emotion. Silence and observation combined create a shield of awareness that protects your energy while allowing you to act effectively when necessary. Consider also the ripple effect. When you respond to provocation with calm observation, your behavior influences others. People notice your composure, your steady energy, and your refusal to be drawn into chaos. This can inspire calm in others, diffuse conflict before it escalates, and shift the energy of the room. Observation becomes not only a personal tool, but a collective force for harmony. Your calm creates space for clarity, reflection, and resolution. Finally, observation nurtures self-mastery. Every moment of provocation is an opportunity to strengthen your inner control. The more you practice observing, rather than reacting, the more automatic calmness becomes. You train your mind to resist impulsive responses, your body to remain relaxed under stress, and your heart to remain centered despite external disturbance. Over time, you develop a profound resilience. No insult, provocation, or attempt to trigger you can disturb your peace unless you allow it. You become unshakable, not through force but through awareness and conscious choice. To embody this practice, remember these steps. Breathe deeply, step back mentally, observe the person and their motives, notice your internal reactions, detach from the outcome, and choose compassion over retaliation. With repetition, this approach becomes natural. Provocation loses its power, and calmness becomes your default state. You transform from a reactive participant in life's drama to a master of your own energy, a quiet force of presence, and an example of inner strength. In essence, observing rather than reacting is the highest form of calm. It allows you to navigate provocations with wisdom, maintain your integrity, protect your energy, and inspire those around you. Every trigger becomes a lesson, every provocation a test, and every moment of calm a triumph. In this practice, you discover that true power is not in changing others, but in mastering yourself, and that the calm observer is stronger than any person who seeks to disturb them. When someone deliberately attempts to trigger you, it is easy to feel the surge of emotions rising inside. Anger, frustration, indignation, and sometimes fear flood the mind, urging you to respond immediately. This is the natural instinct, the automatic reaction that most people follow without thinking. But reacting in the heat of emotion is never wise. It may give you a momentary sense of power, but in reality it depletes your energy, clouds your judgment, and often escalates the situation. The key to true calmness lies in responding with awareness rather than emotion, in allowing your mind and heart to observe before acting, and in choosing your words and actions with conscious intent rather than impulsive reactivity. To respond with awareness, you must first acknowledge the emotional wave inside you. Do not suppress it, do not deny it, and do not judge it. Recognize it as a temporary surge, a signal from your body and mind that something is attempting to disturb your equilibrium. Naming the emotion quietly to yourself can be profoundly grounding. I feel anger. I feel frustration. I feel provoked. Simply recognizing the presence of emotion creates a distance between the feeling and yourself. This distance is the space in which awareness can operate. Without awareness, emotion controls you. With awareness, you control your emotion. Breathing is an essential tool in this process. When triggered, the body instinctively goes into fight or flight mode. Heart rate increases, muscles tense, and thoughts race. Deliberate, deep breathing interrupts this cycle. Inhale fully, hold for a moment, and exhale slowly. Visualize the tension leaving your body with each breath. Each exhale creates space for calm awareness, allowing your mind to observe the situation rather than be consumed by it. Breath becomes the bridge between reaction and conscious response, a simple yet powerful tool that transforms emotional chaos into clarity. Awareness also requires observing the other person without judgment. When someone attempts to trigger you, their words and actions often carry layers of emotion, projection, and personal struggle. Instead of immediately internalizing or reacting to their provocations, observe them as you would a character in a story. Ask yourself silently, what is motivating their behavior? What insecurities or frustrations are they expressing? How are they projecting their own issues onto me? By stepping back mentally, you prevent their energy from infiltrating your own, and you create a neutral space from which you can respond intelligently. Responding with awareness also involves recognizing your own triggers. Why do certain words, tones, or behaviors disturb you more than others? Often, triggers are tied to past experiences, unresolved pain, or deeply held beliefs. Awareness allows you to see that the power of the provocation lies not entirely in the other person's actions, but in the unresolved stories and sensitivities within yourself. When you understand your triggers, you gain the ability to choose your response consciously rather than react automatically. The awareness of self is as important as the awareness of the other. Once you have recognized both the external provocation and your internal reaction, Choose your response with intention. This may mean speaking calmly and firmly, setting boundaries, or sometimes remaining silent. The response should be deliberate, guided by awareness, and aligned with your values, rather than driven by temporary emotion. Awareness ensures that every word you speak, every action you take, serves a purpose, maintains your integrity, and preserves your inner peace. Another aspect of responding with awareness is practicing emotional regulation. Awareness allows you to notice the rising surge of anger or frustration and consciously modulate it before it manifests outwardly. This is not suppression but management, acknowledging the emotion internally while maintaining external composure. You might feel the urge to lash out, but awareness allows you to pause, reflect, and respond from a grounded, centered state. This not only protects your peace but also communicates strength and maturity to the other person. Observation combined with awareness also helps you see the bigger picture. Most provocations are fleeting, momentary attempts to unsettle you. When you zoom out mentally and consider the long-term impact of your response, you realize that reacting impulsively rarely serves your higher goals. Awareness allows you to prioritize what truly matters over immediate gratification or venting. You maintain control over your energy and focus it on constructive outcomes rather than getting lost in conflict. Awareness also fosters empathy and understanding. When someone tries to trigger you, recognizing that their actions are often rooted in fear, insecurity, or past trauma allows you to respond without hostility. This does not mean accepting harmful behavior or compromising your boundaries, but it transforms your perspective from one of personal attack to one of understanding human complexity. By responding from empathy and awareness, you elevate the interaction, diffusing tension rather than amplifying it. Practicing awareness also builds resilience. Every moment of provocation becomes an opportunity to train your mind to remain calm under pressure. Over time, as you consistently respond with awareness rather than emotion, your capacity to handle stress, conflict, and attempts to trigger you grows exponentially. You begin to carry an inner stability that is unshakable, regardless of external circumstances. Awareness strengthens your ability to maintain composure, clarity, and integrity, even in the most challenging interactions. Finally, responding with awareness allows you to harness the power of intention. Instead of reacting to someone else's attempt to control your emotions, you act from your own purpose. You decide how your energy is spent, what words are spoken, and what actions are taken. Awareness transforms you from a reactive participant in life's drama to a conscious creator of your reality. Each moment of calm, deliberate response reinforces your sovereignty over your mind, emotions, and life paths. In conclusion, staying calm when someone is trying to trigger you is not about avoidance, suppression, or passivity. It is about cultivating awareness, observing the provocation, recognizing your internal reactions, understanding the motivations of the other person, and choosing your response with intention. Awareness allows you to navigate provocations with clarity, integrity, and resilience. It protects your energy, preserves your peace, and transforms each triggering moment into an opportunity for mastery. Through this practice, you embody true strength, unshakable, centered, and capable of responding wisely in any situation. Provocations lose their power, conflicts are diffused, and your life becomes a reflection of deliberate calm and conscious action, guided by awareness at every turn. When someone attempts to trigger you, it is natural for your emotions to flare. Anger, irritation, frustration, or even hurt can rise within you like a storm, urging you to respond immediately. The human mind is wired for reaction, but wisdom lies in resisting this automatic impulse. True calmness is born from emotional detachment, not indifference, but the conscious choice to maintain presence and composure despite external provocation. Emotional detachment is the key to protecting your energy, preserving your peace, and responding in a way that is intentional, not reactive. To understand emotional detachment, it is important to recognize that no one can disturb your inner peace without your permission. Provocation has power only if you allow it. Every attempt to trigger you is a reflection of the other person's state of mind, not your reality. When you see this clearly, you create a boundary between their energy and yours. Detachment allows you to observe without being consumed, to engage without being destabilized, and to act from clarity rather than impulsive emotion. Presence is the foundation of this practice. By grounding yourself in the moment, you anchor your awareness and prevent your mind from being swept away by emotional waves. Focus on your breath, the sensations in your body, or even the simple awareness of your surroundings. This anchors your consciousness in the now, creating a calm center that remains unaffected by external attempts to provoke. Presence transforms the way you experience triggers. The storm may rage around you, but you remain the steady observer at its heart. Emotional detachment also involves recognizing the impermanent nature of provocation. Insults, criticism, or attempts to provoke are temporary. They exist only in this moment. By detaching from the need to respond, you allow these words and actions to pass without giving them weight. The person attempting to trigger you may hope for an immediate reaction, but your detachment renders their efforts ineffective. Silence combined with presence communicates strength more powerfully than any verbal retaliation ever could. Another critical element is self-awareness. Understand your triggers and recognize the patterns in your emotional reactions. Why do certain words or behaviors affect you more than others? By identifying these vulnerabilities, you can consciously decide how to respond when provoked. Self-awareness allows you to observe the emotional surge without judgment, preventing you from being hijacked by the moment. Detachment is not coldness, it is mastery of self and clarity of purpose. Breathing techniques reinforce both presence and detachment. When confronted with a triggering situation, take slow, deliberate breaths, inhale deeply, feel your lungs expand, and exhale slowly, releasing tension with each breath. Imagine yourself expanding your inner space, creating a buffer between your emotional state and the external provocation. Breath becomes a tool of resilience, anchoring your calm while the mind and body adapt to remain unshaken. Detachment also means choosing not to personalize the provocation. Often, people trigger us because of their own insecurities, frustrations, or desires for control. Their actions are a reflection of their inner chaos, not your value or character. By maintaining detachment, you refuse to internalize their projections. Their words and behavior may pass, but your inner peace remains intact. This realization is liberating. No one can control your emotional state unless you grant them that power. Presence allows you to respond from intention rather than reaction. You are not bound to respond impulsively. Instead, you assess the situation calmly and choose the action that aligns with your values and long-term goals. This could mean speaking with measured words, setting boundaries, or remaining silent. The choice is deliberate and rooted in awareness, not emotion. In this way, detachment and presence work hand in hand to ensure that every response preserves your dignity, integrity, and energy. Detachment also fosters patience. Many provocations are designed to elicit an immediate reaction, to trap you in a cycle of conflict. When you practice detachment, you gain the ability to step back and let situations unfold naturally. You observe, reflect, and allow time for clarity to emerge. Often, the one attempting to trigger you becomes frustrated when no reaction arises, revealing their intentions and weaknesses. Your calm presence transforms the dynamic, shifting power back to you. Moreover, detachment nurtures empathy. Understanding that the provocateur acts from their own challenges allows you to respond with compassion rather than hostility. Compassion does not mean tolerating harmful behavior, but it transforms your perspective. You recognize that their attempts to trigger you are a reflection of suffering, not a judgment of your worth. This perspective reduces the emotional charge of provocation, making calmness not just possible, but natural. Detachment is reinforced by focusing on what you can control. You cannot control the behavior of others, but you can control your own responses. your energy, and your focus. By directing attention to what is within your power, your composure, your choices, your actions, you create a life guided by intention rather than reaction. Provocation becomes inconsequential because it does not alter the priorities, values, or peace that you have cultivated. Finally, practicing detachment and presence consistently builds resilience over time. Each moment of calm in the face of provocation strengthens your capacity to remain composed in future challenges. You train your mind to resist automatic emotional reactions, your body to stay relaxed, and your spirit to remain centered. Provocations, no matter how intense, lose their power. You become the unshakable presence in any interaction, the calm observer who responds with clarity, wisdom, and intention. In conclusion, emotional detachment combined with presence is a powerful strategy for staying calm when someone tries to trigger you. By creating a space between stimulus and response, grounding yourself in the moment, observing without judgment, and choosing your actions with intention, you maintain inner peace and protect your energy. Provocations lose their potency, conflicts are diffused, and your life becomes a reflection of mastery, resilience, and calm authority. Detachment and presence do not remove challenges. They transform the way you experience and navigate them, allowing you to remain composed, centered, and empowered no matter the circumstances. In the journey of life, there will always be people who attempt to push your buttons, provoke your emotions, or unsettle your peace. These moments are inevitable, but how you respond to them defines not only your character but the quality of your life. Cultivating inner strength and mindfulness is the ultimate practice to remain calm when someone tries to trigger you. It is the ability to stand unshaken in the midst of chaos, to maintain clarity when emotions surge, and to navigate challenging interactions with wisdom and presence. This skill is not born overnight, it is nurtured through awareness, discipline, and the conscious cultivation of inner resilience. Inner strength begins with self-awareness. To remain calm in the face of provocation, you must first know yourself, your vulnerabilities, your triggers, and your patterns of emotional response. Each person carries a unique set of experiences, wounds, and sensitivities that can be activated by certain words, tones, or behaviors. Awareness of these internal triggers gives you the ability to pause and observe rather than react. It is the recognition that when someone attempts to trigger you, the power of their words or actions lies not in their intent, but in the way your mind receives and interprets them. With self-awareness, you gain the first layer of control, the control over your own perception and emotional reaction. Mindfulness is the practice that allows awareness to manifest into calm action. Mindfulness is not merely a meditation exercise, it is a continuous practice of bringing attention to the present moment, observing without judgment, and responding with clarity rather than impulse. When someone tries to provoke you, mindfulness allows you to notice the rising surge of emotions, the physical tension in your body, and the thoughts racing through your mind. Instead of being swept away by these sensations, mindfulness teaches you to witness them as temporary phenomena, to see them without attachment, and to act from a place of centered awareness. Breathing is a critical tool in this practice. In moments of provocation, the body instinctively reacts with fight or flight responses, heart rate increases, muscles tighten, and thoughts race. Conscious, deep breathing interrupts this automatic reaction. Inhale slowly, fully filling your lungs. Pause for a moment, and exhale deliberately, releasing tension and stress. Each breath acts as a reset button, allowing your mind to regain control, your body to relax, and your emotions to settle. The breath anchors you in the present moment and reinforces the strength of mindfulness. Another essential aspect of cultivating inner strength is understanding the impermanence of provocation. Every attempt to trigger you exists only in the present moment. Words, actions, and emotional disturbances are temporary. They pass like clouds across the sky. By keeping this perspective, you prevent yourself from attaching undue significance to provocations. The storm may rage, but your inner sky remains vast, clear, and unaffected. This awareness is liberating. You realize that no external force has the authority to disrupt the calm you have cultivated within. Inner strength is also built through the practice of boundaries. Calmness does not mean passivity or tolerating harmful behavior. It means knowing your limits and asserting them with clarity and composure. When someone crosses a line, respond with calm firmness, not reactive anger. This demonstrates that your peace is non-negotiable, and it sets the standard for how others interact with you. Boundaries are an expression of respect for self and others. They protect your energy while maintaining integrity and dignity. Cultivating compassion and empathy further reinforces calmness. Often the provocateur is acting from fear, insecurity, or unresolved pain. Understanding this allows you to respond without hostility and with measured compassion. Compassion does not mean tolerating abuse, it means recognizing that their actions are a reflection of their struggles rather than an assessment of your worth. Responding from this perspective neutralizes the power of their provocations and keeps your energy centered. Visualization is another technique that strengthens inner resilience. Before entering situations where provocation is likely, visualize yourself as calm, composed, and unshakable. See yourself standing firm, observing without reaction, and responding with deliberate clarity. Imagine their words and actions as waves that pass harmlessly around you, leaving your inner calm untouched. Visualization creates mental conditioning that prepares your subconscious to respond with poise and stability in real-time situations. Detachment is closely linked with mindfulness and inner strength. Emotional detachment does not imply coldness or indifference. It is the conscious choice to separate your emotional state from the provocation. You recognize that the other person's attempts to trigger you are not about your value. They are a reflection of their own unresolved issues. By detaching, you prevent their energy from infiltrating yours. This not only preserves your peace, but also allows for clear, intentional action when necessary. Self-discipline is an essential pillar of this practice. Cultivating inner strength and mindfulness requires consistent effort. Every time you choose calm over reaction, you reinforce neural pathways in the brain that favor composure, clarity, and intentionality. Over time, responding with awareness becomes automatic. You develop resilience that is not dependent on external conditions but rather emerges from your own disciplined practice of presence, breath, and mindful observation. The final element is perspective. Provocations, insults, or attempts to trigger you are often inconsequential in the larger scope of life. By maintaining perspective, you prevent them from hijacking your mind or dictating your behavior. Ask yourself, will this matter in a week, a month, or a year? Will responding with anger or frustration serve my long-term goals or values? When you evaluate situations from a higher vantage point, you cultivate calmness naturally. Your responses become strategic, intentional, and aligned with your greater purpose. Ultimately, cultivating inner strength and mindfulness allows you to live with freedom. You are no longer at the mercy of external attempts to disturb you. Calmness becomes your default state, your internal power unshaken by provocation. This mastery transforms not only interactions with others, but also the way you navigate life. Challenges, conflicts, and difficult people no longer control your energy. They become opportunities to practice composure, awareness, and intentional response. In conclusion, staying calm when someone is trying to trigger you is a lifelong practice that combines self-awareness, mindfulness, emotional detachment, and inner strength. Through conscious observation, regulated breath, clear boundaries, compassion, visualization, and disciplined practice, you develop an unshakable inner center. Provocations lose their power, conflicts are navigated with clarity, and your life becomes a reflection of intentional calm, wisdom, and resilience. Each triggering moment becomes a laboratory for mastery, each challenge an opportunity to strengthen your presence, and each interaction a chance to embody the calm authority of someone who has learned to respond with awareness rather than emotion. Through this practice, you are not just reacting, you are consciously shaping your energy, your interactions, and ultimately your destiny.